I don't have a problem with the WNBA players asking for a raise. The WNBA is on a hot streak. I don't care about the previous 24, 25 years. As an investment, it's starting to pay off. And so this week they wore T-shirts saying, making a statement, you better pay us. But instead of just leaving it at that, Kelsey Plum for LA had to take a dig at Caitlin Clark.
Colin Cowherd just called out Kelsey Plum. And honestly, it was long overdue. While Caitlin Clark is out here revolutionizing the WNBA and turning it into a revenue-generating powerhouse, Plum decided to take shots at the very player driving that momentum. But Cowherd didn't stay silent. He fired back hard, exposing the jealousy
So what did Cowherd really say?
Bubbling under the surface in the league. And what he said will leave you stunned. So what exactly did Cowherd say? And how did he end?
The T-shirt, just United Front was determined this morning that we had a meeting for, and not to tattletale, but 0 members of Team Clark were very present for that.
Oh boy.
Up comparing Caitlin Clark to the Michael Jordan himself. If you're riding with Caitlin, drop a golden goose in the comments. Let's get into it. Oh, you want to talk about a dramatic transformation? Buckle up. For over 20 years, WNBA players were flying coach on budget airlines, where they literally had to pay for water. Yeah, water. These women were battling through full...
But why do you take a shot at the golden goose, Caitlin Clark? You guys were flying before she arrived on one of those airlines that made you pay for a cup of water. One of those airlines that is the planes are the color of a highlighter. Now you're flying private. Okay, if you're in a band and you're staying at the Motel 6 and you add a band member and now you're at the Ritz-Carlton, keep your issues to yourself. All right? You went from a Motel 6 in a sketchy part of town to a 4 Seasons in the shopping district. Stop talking.
Then Caitlin Clark showed up.
Seasons in half-empty arenas, repping teams that bled money every year. And don't even get started on merch. Jersey sales were so low, most fans couldn't find one even if they wanted to support. Then Caitlin Clark entered the scene. And overnight, everything flipped. We're talking a jaw-dropping 500% spike in merchandise sales. Yes, 500%. League-wide attendance shot up 40%.
List for season tickets.
I don't mind the T-shirts. I think you have leverage. I think you deserve more than 9%. But it's just misstep after misstep. It's time to grow up, girls. Like fast. Like this is the player that got you off the airline that was bright yellow. Right? She got you an upgrade to a better hotel.
With some arenas that used to be ghost towns now packed to the rafters, teams that were once bleeding cash suddenly found themselves in the black. The Indiana Fever. They went from being one of the WNBA's biggest money pits to having a waiting list for season tickets. That's the Caitlin Clark effect. But here's what really lights a fire under Cowherd. These same players...
They deserve a big raise, maybe not 50% of revenues, because NBA stars, there's a lot of them, and they move the needle. The WNBA stars, well, there's one that moves the needle. And here's the other thing to remember. Caitlin Clark's already rich. She made $11 million this year alone in endorsements off the court. So regardless of how these negotiations go, she's set. Nobody else is, right? So when somebody joins the band and everything gets upgraded,
who used to struggle on budget flights are now flying private, staying in luxury hotels, and cashing bigger paychecks. The league's financial turnaround has been so massive, players are now enjoying perks they couldn't have even imagined just 2 seasons ago. And yet, despite all that, some veteran players are still throwing shade at the one person who made it all happen. Let's call it what it is. Caitlin Clark didn't just help the WNBA, she saved it. She took the league from a financial afterthought to a thriving business practically overnight. TV ratings skyrocket every time she steps on the court. Sponsors are lining up with open wallets because they know Clark brings viewers. Social media is buzzing like never before. And Clark jerseys.
Wanted your song to be the first one they played. You wanted to make up the set. It's not the t-shirt. You're going to do fine. I'd scale back on the Caitlin Clark.
They're flying off the shelves faster than manufacturers can keep up. Every player in the league is benefiting from the momentum she created, whether they admit it or not. And this is exactly where Colin Cowherd hits his breaking point. He's watched this evolution unfold in real time and can't wrap his head around why some players are trashing the very person who made it all possible. After decades of grinding and finally tasting success, why would you turn on the one who delivered it? Cowherd nailed it when he said the WNBA's transformation was like moving from a sketchy Motel 6 to the Four Seasons in a high-end shopping district. That one line says it all. Caitlin Clark didn't just boost the league. She elevated everything. The accommodations, the travel, the paychecks, the respect from major sports outlets. It all leveled up because one player brought a wave of attention women's basketball had never seen before. And yet, some veteran players are still stuck in the old mindset, acting like it's business as usual. They're enjoying Four Seasons luxury while criticizing the very person who got them out.
Caitlin Clark finished 9th in player voting. In fact, she finished behind one of her own teammates in player voting for the All-Star game. The pettiness has no bounds. But it's interesting, for years, the WNBA players were pointing fingers. They were saying people are sexist, the media is sexist, we're not being promoted, we're underappreciated. And then they get the golden goose
of the Motel 6 lifestyle. And that disconnect came to a head when the WNBA All-Star voting results dropped, revealing something ugly that Cowherd couldn't ignore any longer. Here's how the All-Star process works. Fans vote for their favorite stars, coaches pick the reserves, and players vote for who they believe truly deserves the spotlight. And that vote matters a lot. Being selected as an All-Star...
Iowa girl, Indiana girl. Well, who knows, and I've said this for years, when the wave hits, ride it. You don't know what it looks like. Don't fight it. When Puka Nacua went in the 5th round of the Rams and they suddenly in camp went, oh, we just found a new #1 receiver. He's better than Cooper Kupp. They didn't fight it. Did you think when you watched Tom Brady at the Combine, that looked like the GOAT? They had just signed Drew Bledsoe to a $103 million contract. That was a lot of money back then. And then a year in, they're like, I'm going to go with Brady. They didn't.
Boosts endorsement deals, builds legacies, and shapes how history remembers a player. For young stars especially, it's a stamp of validation that opens doors to bigger opportunities. So where did fans rank Caitlin Clark among guards? First, no surprise there. But her fellow players. They ranked her 9th. 9th. The league's biggest attraction. The reason arenas are packed and merchandise is flying off the shelves. Barely cracked the top 10 in her own peers' votes. And this wasn't some tight race either. The gap between how fans see her and how players voted was massive. It sent a loud, clear message. The people cashing in on Clark's success aren't all that eager to give her the credit she's earned. As chat, let's be honest about what Caitlin Clark's All-Star ranking really says. It had nothing to do with her performance on the court. She was putting up big numbers, breaking records, and proving she belonged at the highest level. The stats fully backed her up. This wasn't about basketball.
Now, there's obviously a racial component here. The WNBA players, they just don't like what the wave looks like. They wanted to fly private. They wanted to be more popular. They wanted a better deal in the CBA, which they'll get. They wanted sold-out arenas. They got it. They don't necessarily think it should be this. But again, you can't fight.
It was personal. Think back to other breakout stars in sports. When LeBron James exploded onto the NBA scene, veteran players may not have loved all the media hype, but they respected his talent. When Tiger Woods took over golf as a young phenom, the old guard might have felt threatened, but they understood what he brought to the game. Clark's situation feels different. The resistance was louder, pettier, and painfully obvious. And Colin Cowherd.
Every company in the country would love to go viral every day for free marketing. If they knew how to do it, they'd all be viral every day. Like, you just don't know. Is it authentic? It touches people. There's a tentacle of emotion involved, and suddenly some small town kid goes viral, or a singing frog. Who knows? I wouldn't have guessed that Caitlin Clark would be this transformative. I wouldn't have guessed Tom Brady would be the GOAT. Don't fight it. The wave, the meteor, doesn't necessarily look like you think.
Cowherd didn't hold back when he saw the voting results. He called it what it was: pure pettiness. He highlighted how some WNBA players were showing zero appreciation for the one person who completely turned their league around. Instead of embracing what he called the golden goose, these players were actively sabotaging the very force that's bringing more money, attention, and respect to all of them.
People are saying, hey man, this league has never made money. It's an investment. It's now going to make money. And by the way, this is the least profitable, arguably. It'll be over the next 10 years. It's only going to get more profitable as women's basketball gets better, as the Caitlin Clark momentum train gets bigger. I mean, this year, she's not playing well. She's hurt. She's not there for all the games. So this is actually not as great as it could be. Like Michael Jordan, hurt year 2, next 12 years were legendary. That's what it's going to be.